What is it that we left? Did we make a mistake? Did we make a mistake by leaving the US? It depends on what you think is happening, whether you're being pulled or pushed. What is it that's pushing you? What is it that's pulling you? And what are the things that stood out to me?
Your national security.
This time Alex is cooking. He's
No,
making
I'm not. You're lying.
enchiladas.
That's a fake story. Fake news.
And
Fake
looks
news.
making enchiladas to me. There's the first batch of enchiladas. Just took them out of the oven. And we're gonna have some refried beans.
All right. Hey everybody, what would you think if a family member came over to you, and if this was 20 years ago and it would have happened, or if you went to a family member and said, you know what, I can retire this year if I move to a third world country. Now, if this was taking place like 20 years ago, what kind of a reaction do you think you would get if you went to your family and said that, or if family came and said that to you, or somebody in the family came and said that to you? Reminds me of years ago, when I was in the States, I went to the plumbing store to get some parts, and there were some old timers standing there chit-chatting, and they were chit-chatting about healthcare and all this kind of stuff they needed to do, you know, go to the clinic and get this done and that done. And they were lamenting how expensive it was. And at the time, I was considering doing the thing, moving to a third world country. And so I was in touch with a friend that was in India. This while I was in the States. And he told me how great the medical was in India and how inexpensive it was and all the things. He even gave me prices on everything. We were thinking about starting an online business together at that time. And so he was giving me price lists on everything. And so being in this plumbing shop and hearing these old timers talk about this, I just felt this urge to share that information. So after a few minutes, I said, well, you guys, have you heard? You can go to India and get that stuff super cheap. And you could have heard a pin drop after I said that. These are old timers. I mean, born and raised USA, never been anywhere. And here comes this guy talking about going to some far-flung place, you know, across the globe to get something done. And that was, you know, over 10 years ago. So, but now we live in the information age, and it seems that information is free-flowing. Information or disinformation, misinformation, it's all in there. And I remember, even within our family, with us, we spent many a weekend just discussing and hashing and talking about the idea of moving to, you know, a developing country or a third world country, as people refer them to, whatever you want to call them, developing world, whatever you want to call it. And so we spent a lot of time doing that. You know, almost every Sunday we would have family meetings, and we would have discussions and questions, and you know, and back then you had a few blogs, not quite as much information as you have now. The big Retire Abroad media online magazines were not so prolific back then, and YouTube wasn't really, it was barely coming into its own. And so video, matter of fact, there was not much video. We were one of the first live abroad videographers or vloggers when we got to Cuenca, and a lot of people told us that it really helped them to get a visual of the place, and there was nobody else doing it at the time, and that helped them make the decision to move abroad because they got this visual. And a lot of times we can read about stuff, but we don't see it in our mind's eye, and so video helps people see it, and that's what helps them say, well, gee whiz, it doesn't look so foreign or whatever, you know, oh, hey, look, everybody's got cars. It's not like in the movies, you know, people, dirt roads and chickens and stuff. Of course, it's like that on the coast in Crucita. But, no. And so it is that you get this, you know, travel bug. and you read about all these young guys traveling back then. That's who was online, traveling all the time, going here, going there, and having all this fun. And you're having a ball and having a great time, having a self-sufficient household and family and a beautiful southern weather. You know, nice spacious yard with a nice big 40-foot pool. Every summer you enjoy it, even in the spring and fall since it's so hot in the south. You didn't have a bad life, you just have this discontentment and you just feel like you're missing out and you think you want to do all these wonderful things. And you come out here and you do it, and it's everything you had hoped, and it's exciting, and the weather's nice. I just talked to a friend that I hadn't talked to in a number of years, and he asked me, well, what's it like? And I said, well, the weather's nice and living's cheap, but yeah, mandatory masks. He's like, oh, you can't run. You can't outrun this thing. It's global. And there's this thing that people, when we first got abroad, people would ask us. This terminology came up, push-pull, that I hadn't heard before until we started talking to expats when we got to Ecuador, and they said this concept of push-pull, meaning either they get pushed out or they're getting pulled to something. And so for us it was both, both push and pull. And there's the pull of the wanderlust and the travel and the excitement, the weather and the inexpensiveness and the doability and all of those things. And then there's the push aspect, and I'm going to make this point, if you'll bear with me. What is it that we left? Did we make a mistake? Did we make a mistake by leaving the U.S.? It depends on what you think is happening, whether you're being pulled or pushed. What is it that's pushing you? What is it that's pulling you? And one of the things that stood out to me, America, America, God shed His grace on thee. America, America, from sea to shining sea. That or cops still arresting people they're not supposed to be arresting. You see the push-pull? Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Or Department of Social Services still taking children they're not supposed to be taking. Yep. How about this one? My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Or IRS still taking people's money they're not supposed to be taking. And last but not least, just because I don't want this video to go on too long, there's much more that I could be doing on this subject. Land of the Pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Or children dying crossing the Rio Grande River to trying to get to freedom in the USA. So whether you think you made a mistake leaving the USA or not, it just depends on what you think you're leaving behind. And everybody's got opinions. And so when I listen to people talk about, a question was actually asked just a few days ago. Why is everybody wanting to come abroad? What's the motivation? Is it the election? Is it, things in your country? Is it you just want to travel, whatever? And I see a lot of people saying, oh, things are getting this way. They're getting so bad here. And so I want to leave and I want to have a better life. And that's understandable that people want to have a better life. And usually people that emigrate do so because they want to have a better life. And so the question of better life, it just comes down to a matter of personal opinion and personal judgment. But I'll tell you, if you haven't been there, done that, it just comes down to where are you coming from, where you think you're going. And for us, we're enjoying every minute. We enjoy every single day, every chance we get. That's what the retire early lifestyle is all about, is taking at least some time every single day to enjoy that day. Finding something within that day to enjoy it. So I hope I've inspired you to think for yourself and find some enjoyment today. Thanks for watching.